Hello, my name is Ivy, and this is my shower bun and flyaways. So hello, I am the creator, head witch, or whatever the case, of Cinemagic, and welcome to Cinemagic. Welcome to the channel. Yeah. If you didn't know already, then this video is a how tarot ruined my life in the most beautiful way possible, which is basically like a story time of my life since I started reading tarot. So I'm going to start at the beginning, and then I'm going to go all the way till now. The beginning being like, I guess 3 years ago, 2017, I want to say. That's when I got my first deck. I was 16. And then even like before then. So I'm going to just get started. Why not? So, the beginning, when I first started being interested in tarot, I didn't even know what tarot was. Like, I was already a witch. I started my witchcraft journey at 14, and I can do a video on that if you would like one. I was 14 when I first started getting into the metaphysical realm and things like that. And I didn't even know what tarot was until after I watched Penny Dreadful. It was like, watch this Penny Dreadful once, and I'm like, what is that? In the first episode, spoiler alert, the main female character, Vanessa Ives, she pulls out the most iconic tarot deck ever. I mean, not most iconic ever. It's pretty minimalistic, and honestly, looking back, it's alright. But it was a deck, and I didn't know what it was, but I was like, I need that. I need that. At that point, when I got my first deck, even before then, when I started looking for tarot cards, I knew absolutely jack shit about tarot. Like, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to give readings. I didn't even know what it looked like to give a reading to someone. I only had one experience before then, and that was when I was watching this movie, or when my mom was watching the movie. I don't know if I had permission to watch the movie because it was a horror movie and I was really little, but it was some weird movie about tarot readings, and it was about them being evil, and I don't even know what the movie was, but yeah. So I just went into this blindly. I didn't even do a YouTube search about what tarot was or how to read tarot. I didn't do a Google search. I didn't search anywhere but Amazon. And I barely searched Amazon. I think I got my first deck from Barnes & Noble. But anyway, so eventually, throughout my search for tarot cards, because I didn't want to write away, I didn't want any deck that was just regular old. You know, I didn't want some random old deck. I wanted something that really spoke to me, because, you know, I knew before I knew. Just gonna say that. And so I got the Wild Unknown Tarot deck because the images resonated really well. I mean, I didn't even understand the hype around it because I didn't know anything about it. I was scrolling Barnes & Noble and they had it for pre-order. The deck and guidebook set, they had it for pre-order. And I was like, I'm gonna get it. The images resonated. Everything was so perfect. And I was like, I want this deck. So, I got the deck and guidebook and I loved it. It was amazing, but I didn't understand shit about it. And so, the deck and guidebook, like I told you, like nothing really clicked with the images once I got them because I didn't know anything about tarot. I learned everything that I knew from then. I assumed naively that the guidebook would have the information that I needed about the cards, about reading tarot, and it did. It got me, it was the first step. It was a good gateway drug to tarot, right? The guidebook, because she talked about tarot spreads. She gave little blurbs on each card. Talked about giving readings and cleansing and hygiene and cutting the deck and shuffling and shit. You know, like, that was what I needed. It was enough so that I got started. But when I didn't even try to do a reading or a spread for myself, I just wanted to see all the cards. I picked out favorite cards and I tried to memorize them. And if you know anything about memorization and neurodivergent people, it doesn't always work It doesn't work. So I can't memorize anything. I have to learn it. I have to understand it in and out. I have to understand the fundamental and then understand how I relate to it, right? For me to actually remember the shit. Because I don't even remember people's names. I do remember birthdays. So I remember birthdays and birth charts. So, yeah, I was off bad. I didn't know. I tried studying it like I studied everything else in school through just repetition and trying to memorize the shit. I didn't realize that it wasn't working. But you know, I digress. My first reading that I did was actually for my mom, and she wasn't very excited about me being a witch or me even learning like reading tarot cards, but she believed in mediumship and she was my first client. Ooh. But she said it resonated and she was like, girl, you got a gift. And I was like, thank you. You know, me at 16, I'm like, oh, really? Taking my tarot deck with me everywhere. Got the whole box in my book bag in school. Not giving a reading to anybody at school, by the way. I just got it with me. Mind you, like, I'm telling you, I didn't go on YouTube or, like, look at how to do anything. This is just me being me. Me being me. Eventually, I didn't really pay tarot that much attention. Like I said, I never went to anywhere to look for information other than the guidebook and Tumblr. I on Tumblr a lot for shit, but that was it. I didn't really know anything else about it. Since I didn't really have any way of, well, I didn't know of any ways to pursue anything with tarot, so I just left it alone, really. I had no guidance or anything, so it was like, I left it alone until, I had a girlfriend and she let me read her cards. She was interested in it a little bit, well, interested enough to let me read her cards, and that was fun. But I didn't like that I was still dependent on the guidebook. I didn't like that I couldn't memorize the cards. And no matter what, like I tried relating the meanings of the cards to the way the cards looked, and it worked a little bit, but it wasn't working. I was like, I don't get it. I can't get it. Like it sucked. So I just left it alone because it was making me a bit insecure. So it's needless to say, I didn't get much experience reading cards or even like getting an understanding of how they relate because I didn't put myself out there. Really, I didn't want to give readings to people because I was afraid that I didn't understand enough about the cards, and I didn't like the fact that I was clutching to this book. I hated the fact that I was clutching to that book, but they had really good tarot spreads in there. I didn't feel like I would have been able to relate to these people right. I didn't feel like I was going to be good enough to read tarot for people, so I didn't even break out the cards at school. I was like, it's just here. Eventually I had to stop bringing it with me because I mean it was taking up space in my bag. So yeah, when I graduated and decided to go to college, I brought my tarot deck with me. I was like, well, this is something that I can do in my free time, like whatever, read tarot. I tried, you know, getting more into it, like taking cards with me and like reading for people, but it didn't really click with the crowd, you know, until I met Clara. Well, we met. We lived on the same, like I was saying, we lived on the same floor, but I didn't really know her like that, and we didn't really I didn't really try to click with her, but she noticed that I had a tarot deck, and so I mean, I was already giving myself readings while I was at school. I was reading for everything, like read this, I need to answer this question, I'm curious about this. Like, yo, anxiety was kicking my ass in college towards my relationships with people, so that's what I read about the most. And like, oh man, the cards started telling me, girl, if you don't shut the fuck up and live life, like like stop pulling cards. That's what the cards started telling me. So I eventually, that's like a really big lesson that I learned from tarot as well, was just to like try to let go of the control of a situation stop trying to know everything about a situation and to just live. You know, things will unfold the way they have to unfold. I don't have control over the situation. And if I'm feeling doubts about a connection, then I should probably leave it alone. But, you know, that's another topic for another time, I guess. So when I was in college and I met Clara and she was interested, she had a tarot deck. That's how we clicked, basically. And I did a reading for her and it was awesome. Actually, I think that day I did a previous reading I had put on my Snapchat and my Tumblr, on my Tinder, that I was a tarot reader and that gave me up for readings. I should probably do that again. Just go on Tinder and be like, you know, I'm up for meeting people and also giving readings. So if that's what you're into, follow my IG. If that's what you're into. But yeah, so that's what I did. And I did readings for one girl before. And then I did a reading for one of our floor mates. And that was deep. That was really heavy. And then I did a reading for my friend Christine that same day. And honestly, like, I didn't realize it, but doing all of those readings at once, like, really drained me, especially the one for our guy friend on the floor. Whew, but I didn't know anything about that shit back at that time. I didn't know. So that was that. But I did the reading for Christine and that was trash. Like, I'm not even gonna front. That reading could have been so much better if I just didn't do it. And I just waited until later. But I wanted to do it because I was having fun. It was exciting and I just wanted to do it. Yeah. Anyway, that got me back on the road to wanting to read tarot and wanting to practice reading and stuff like that. But I was still in school and I was super stressed out about school to the point where I was depressed at a really low point. It was so low. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how low it was. So I ended up dropping out, and that was a big step in improving my mental health, for one, and then also just coming to realize that what I was in school for wasn't even what I wanted to work with. I mean, of course, like, when I chose to go to school, I majored in creative writing, which I love. I love writing. I wasn't going to go to school for some shit that I wasn't into, but I ended up leaving school because it felt pointless and my mental health was trash. And then it ended up being one of the best decisions that I ever made in my life. So I left school and I was working this odd job. Well, I was dog sitting. Yeah, so like I was dog sitting and Bahati Life YouTube came across me. Just YouTube algorithm just be working for me like that. It didn't even just get me back to tarot. It got me back to the craft because of school and my stress and my dealings with school, I was completely separated from my craft and from all of it. I wasn't even trying to do anything. I wasn't really trying to learn anything dealing with it. So at that point, I came back to tarot. I came back to it at a more curious mindset and standpoint. Another YouTube channel that I came across was Water Baby Tarot, who I am not subscribed to anymore for personal reasons. Now I actually came across like a whole lot more readers on YouTube that I really enjoyed. Well, not a whole lot. I mean, there were a few. I don't watch that many readers on YouTube anymore, but I watched a lot. It got to the point where I was addicted to tarot readings. I started watching them in order to learn because I couldn't learn the cards on my own. I wasn't doing good doing that. And the guidebook I grew to realize was pretty trash. I mean, for a beginner or for a start, it's not bad. But even as a beginner, it's not good either. It's too vague, and also the meanings of the cards were kind of weird. So if you're looking to read tarot for the first time or get your first deck, I know this is a bit far in the video to say it, but the Wild Unknown Tarot is not the best bet. If anything, if you're going to get the Wild Unknown Tarot, get the Rider-Waite Tarot with it so that you can at least try to understand, because the pip style images on some of the minor arcana cards are really hard to read. I was looking with Clara and then one of my student, and we were like, what the fuck is that? It doesn't even make sense. Even as intuitive people, like, we can read the cards based on how we feel and how it looks to us at the time. But it was like, what is this supposed to mean? And I'm sure if you're honest with yourself and you own that deck, you feel the same way too. Some of the images just don't look like anything. But I digress. Through watching these people, especially Jess from Bahati Life, I look up to you, woman. Happy birthday to her. Today's actually her birthday. I'm recording this September 22nd, and it's her 33rd birthday. So happy birthday to her. Through her, I learned about actually intuition, that it was a thing, that the intuition is real. And I learned about energetic hygiene. I learned about spirit guides and spirituality. I learned about feeling out vibes and understanding energy, and then also readings, like reading the cards based on intuition, based on instinct, and based on feelings and vibes, right? I didn't understand that. I didn't know what that was at all beforehand. But once I got more comfortable like watching other readers doing it, I decided to do it myself. And I was I was still 18 at the time, but it was for Claire's 19th birthday, and I did a reading for her purely off of just feeling vibes and intuition and following what I'm feeling drawn to in the cards. And that was the first time I did a reading purely intuition, no guidebook, no nothing. And it was a turning point for me. I felt way more confident. I was excited to read more. I just wanted to read all the time. So once I got my first job, I was excited about the job. I was excited to be making money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure we've been there. Like, you're not really excited about the job, but you're excited to be making money. I didn't stop practicing. So this is when it started to get a bit rocky, okay? This is this is when it starts to actually like ruin my life. Actually, no, I'm a backtrack. So while I was getting back to tarot reading and getting back to magic, which was actually from February to April 2019, I got back in and I got deeper into it. That was when I realized that I was like, yo, I'm not having any luck getting a job. I was like, you know, I could do this. So I started my website and I started talking about like metaphysical things on the internet. I started putting myself out there as a reader and as a person that is of intentional lifestyle, which and yeah, I didn't do a good job, and I don't think I'm doing a good job now, but I'm doing my best. At that point in time, before I got my first job, I was like, yo, like I'm trying, but there's nothing else that's trying to work for me. There's nothing else reaching towards me as I'm reaching towards it, except tarot. And I was doing like Instagram story readings where I would suggest people to ask me questions, not answer them using tarot cards. And that's how I got my practice a lot of times. I wanted clients. I wanted people to pay me for the work that I was doing, because that is work. And I knew that there were readers who got paid for it because I knew of readers who did it for money in Richmond and then like across the world. I just didn't understand basically like how people got clients and shit, but we're gonna continue. So fast forward to me working, I'm working, and the job is okay, but I'm still heavily into tarot. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna learn everything that I can. What? So I started getting into like pick a card readings. Well, because I saw it. So I will go on like my Instagram and I do like a pick a card on Instagram, right? And like a few people would be interested, right? But I mean, I didn't really care because I was getting better at reading cards. I was getting better at sensing energy. I was getting better at asking the right questions, making tarot spreads for myself, because that comes from asking the right questions. And just like all around reading, connecting with with my intuition, connecting with the vibes. And I had a regular like mindfulness meditation type situation thing going on. My mental health actually started to get really good. I was taking pretty good care of myself. Now this is when things started to get difficult, right? I knew that I could make so much more money reading tarot. I just wasn't, right? But I had that job and I wasn't making that much money at that job either. I started to think about like other avenues of making money and looking at other places, and then I got fired from that job. But before I got fired, I had made friends on the job that would let me practice reading for them. I was reading tarot at work. I was reading to the point where I was like, I'd rather read tarot than work. Not because like, you know, I hated my job. My job was easy. I could do it breezy and get through it and make the day go by, but it was something about reading the cards that made me feel really good. And it's a different type of high. I do not know how to explain it to you guys, but it really instilled something in me. I was like, yo, like I love this. I love reading. I love practicing, you know, on you guys. And they trusted me and I helped people through stuff. I helped them understand different parts of their lives. It was awesome. And then I got fired. I was like, well. I tried to work at this metaphysical shop, but it didn't work out. I studied more, done different readings. I had bought like plenty of different decks. By that time I had about like 5 decks, including oracle decks that I had got 5 or 6. And I was like, this is what I love. Like, this is something that I just can't go without, honest. I'm gonna stop now because this video is getting really long and I record on my phone, so I don't really want the videos to be that long. I'm gonna be filming a part 2, which is gonna cover all the different things that I discovered since then. And yeah, I really hope that you learned something. I hope that like this made like a place for you to relate to or whatever. And yeah, so if you don't want to miss the part 2 to this video, you can subscribe and click the notifications so that you'll be notified when I upload, right? You can like this video to show your support. You can comment and let me know how you feel about this. And if you want to be more, you know, interactive with the Cinema Coven, then you can follow me on Instagram at Cinemagic. All the links to my social media are on my channel, but I'm pretty sure I'll have them in the description box as well. Thank you so much for sticking through this. I know this was long, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this